insight for the week of October 2nd through the 6th. I'm doing this market insight a little earlier than normal. Helen and I are just about to take off for a short vacation. We're up in New Hampshire to catch some of the early foliage this year, but I thought I'd get this done and out before I go. So let's start with the monthly. Overall, we're still bullish, but look at the volume that came in here. I noticed the volume here, and it's more than I was anticipating. And it suggests sellers have been present through the month here. And we'll see this more clearly on the weekly and the daily in a few moments. But in any event, the presence of selling or sellers supply indicates that we're likely to come back down and test the lows of this month. And possibly we could go lower, as we're going to see on the weekly here in a moment. With the supply here and the way that this market's closing, the odds are increasing that the market will fall a little bit lower. And we'll see what that might look like now on the weekly. And let's just turn over to the weekly here. So on the weekly, we see the selling the last 3 weeks here on the weekly. Let me get a pen here. These 3 weeks in here. And that's the volume that we've been seeing on the monthly. All right. So this is the presence of supply that we were talking about just a moment ago, and that we saw in the heavier volume on the monthly. Couldn't see it quite as clearly, could we, on the monthly? But when we start to drill down, we see that much of that volume can be attributed to selling over the last few weeks here. So the weekly thus far is showing, let's erase this stuff. So far, the weekly is showing a more or less normal pullback. We have an ABC here that's sort of forming this pattern so far, assuming it continues. And that's an ABC down in an uptrend. That's usually a very nice pattern in an ascending market. And so we'll see. Now the weekly hadn't closed as I'm doing this. It's only about 11:30 in the morning here as I'm doing this. So the weekly, this weekly chart's not closed yet when I took the screenshot. But you can see that it's trying to hold. It's trying to hold its demand line here. I've got that outlined in red. There's this minor demand. And the August highs here of 43.27.5. Now, closing the week about this level would be positive, right, for the market. Closing above the mid-August low of 43.50, this low right here, that would be even more positive. I'm not sure it's going to do that, but we'll see if this weekly line support can hold and spark a rally of some degree next week. The volume is high, and that's important to note. We may therefore see some testing before we can rally. Right? We've got high volume here, even though it's on the up move. Let's drill down and take a look at that on the daily. We may expect to see this come back down and test in here. Possibly, if it breaks this low, then come down to the 4,200 level, where we have the weekly demand line, larger demand line, and a support line here. Okay. All right, let's turn to the daily and take a look there and see what we can see. So we can see all that supply now here on the daily. Last Thursday, we broke down below. This is Thursday right here, last Thursday. We break down below the 44.34 level support, and we did so on big volume. That was pretty good size volume. And then we closed the week on the lows. And we closed it down and on pretty good, on an increase in volume. Then Monday, we see demand come in, trying to hold support around 43.50, but the volume just is really, really weak. There's just not enough to push the market up. Tuesday, sellers come in. We couldn't even get over the top of Monday's high before sellers come in and just drive the market down, returning in force and closing the market back down below the August 22 high, the August 2022 high, 23.27. And then Wednesday, we see more volume. We hold the demand line here in red, and then cluster the close with the prior bar. So this is buying coming in during the afternoon on that day. And then yesterday, Thursday, we have even more volume. Look at the large volume there. We're trying to go up and get through the light to the left. But notice we're not having much success, are we? We're really not. So a large effort to go up yesterday, but pretty poor result. This is that supply right here, yeah, that supply, and that's important. And this is having trouble getting over the top of it. And so today, Friday, so far, buyers seem to be again losing ground. Again, we're not closed here. So if we close off the highs, kind of like what it looks like here, or maybe up a little bit, maybe in the middle, but closing off of the highs, which probably looks like possibility here, that'll set the stage for a minimum retest of the lows here. And so far, we're not really seeing strong buying in here, are we? It may come next week, but without some strong buying, we're more likely to go down to the weekly demand line area, back down around 4,200. Let's quickly shift back to the weekly so you know what I'm talking about. And that's this level right here. Come back down into this area next week, or maybe take a couple of weeks to get down there. But if we can't hold these levels, then that would be the next level down. So go back to the daily here. So that's my thinking for the coming week. Wednesday's low of 42.77 as support, and a break below that, we'd be heading down towards 4,200. That's that weekly demand line and support line. And in terms of resistance, we have this week's high of 43.8350. That's actually, it was done on Monday, right? But we're really talking about Tuesday here, Tuesday, Monday, the highs in here, that big supply day. A close over that level next week would be bullish, right? Because you can see how it's causing difficulties this week. So a close above that would be pretty constructive, but so far not able to do that. So should we start trading above the 43.83 level, then the next obvious level of resistance is here, 44.34 area. So that's kind of what I'm looking for next week as a potential scenario. Testing the or retesting this week's lows next week, and then a push back up and above 43, maybe up into 44.34. But we don't know if that's going to happen or not. That's, fantasy at this point. That's one scenario. The other big scenario that I'm weighing in the back of my mind is that we break 4,400 and we go down to 4,200. So those are two opposite kinds of scenarios here, and it's all going to rely on a successful test of the lows and an ability to rally away from the 42.77 danger point. If it's unable to do that, we come down there, and it's unable to do that, then we're vulnerable to going down lower. All right, so that's my take on the market this week. And let's just take a quick look at the major indices here too. Kind of the same thing. The NASDAQ stronger, holding up in here. The weakest so far is the Dow, and really it's got to close above this level, and the S&Ps, this level's 4350. I don't know exactly what it is on the Dow, but we got to, watch this market next week for the clues as to what's going to happen. The Dow is the weakest. So if it's unable, if the other markets are trying to push up, especially the NASDAQ, Dow is unwilling to do it, not good sign, not constructive for the markets. So next week, as I said, we'll be off. So no deep practice next week. I'll be away. Next time will be Thursday, the 12th of October. So I will see you basically in a couple of weeks. Everybody have a good little break and a nice little weekend, good trading next week or so. And I'll see you on Thursday, October 12th. All right, everyone, take care. Bye-bye now.